You have just come back to work after a 3-week vacation. You had time to see some of the members of your extended family and some old friends. You spent a week relaxing at the beach, and you also mixed in a couple side trips to see old ruins and amazing terrain. You didn't take your cell phone and you didn't check email the whole time you were gone. You returned home last night, and this morning you have come to work a bit early, thinking that there might be a lot to do. As you were sorting through your mail, the members of your team arrived at their normal times. They walked by your desk, waved, said hello, and welcome back, and asked whether you had a good time. Then they trundled off to do their jobs. Throughout this morning, you discovered that there are no pressing issues. Not only that, during your absence, the team scored a big new customer and fixed a nagging problem. Some of your peers and other teams commented that your team members seem very committed, and they seem to be particularly focused today as well, even when they are working by themselves. In fact, when you check on the status of your team's various projects, you find that you are ahead of schedule on all but a few. In other words, work is proceeding extremely well. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Sadly, for most leaders, it is only a dream. A nice dream, but only a dream. The reality for most people is that they never take a vacation for as long as 3 continuous weeks, and if they did, they would take their cell phone and their laptop so that they could constantly check on what's happening back at the office, even when they didn't really need to. And when they returned to work, they would expect the worst, fearing that, because of their absence, the team and their tasks had devolved into chaos, and they should never have left in the first place, not even for a day. In other words, for most leaders, their version of reality is more like a nightmare than a dream. The everyday life of a leader is rarely calm. Their workdays tend to be hectic, fragmented, and fast-paced. Finishing everything never happens. Leaders come to work early and leave late. They bring work home with them. They work on weekends. They feel like they have to just to keep up. This creates enormous pressure as they see themselves as the most critical members of their teams, the ones who are most responsible for every team member's outcomes. Many of their team members don't help either, as they often look to their leaders to provide critical solutions. How do leaders respond to this enormous pressure? Their natural reaction is to do more, to do everything they possibly can. They complain that there aren't enough hours in the day. If only I had more time, as if they didn't work extremely hard already. These observations lead to a simple conclusion. Conscientious, dedicated leaders do too much. Way too much. All of us have encountered workaholics, people who define themselves by their success, who don't feel fulfilled unless they are putting in exceedingly long hours, and who don't seem to know that life might actually exist outside of their work. But we are not talking about workaholics here. We are talking about your normal, everyday, hardworking, achievement-oriented leader. The critical issue here goes beyond workaholics. This is about leaders who love and value their families more than their jobs, who delight in hanging out with their friends and not doing much of anything when they can, who are happy to relax and chill out. This is about people who are accomplished and smart and who work hard, but not to the exclusion of all else. These kinds of people still get sucked into what they think are the demands of being a great leader, of feeling like they need to be reachable 24/7, of believing that they are responsible for every single thing their team members do. But as you've probably guessed, this book takes a very different approach to leadership. Most leaders clearly try to do way too much at work. Not only that, because they try to do too much, they perform worse than they otherwise could, and their teams don't perform as well as they could either. There is a solution, however. It is far simpler than you might have imagined. 2 words. Do nothing. Yes, nothing. Crazy? Suicidal? Extreme? Maybe. But consider what would happen if you actually took this simple advice and did nothing. You would come to work each day, say hello to the members of your team, see how they are doing, and then you would do very little else.